Hey guys, this video is of me building a fixture table for my shop. It goes pretty quick, so bear with me. So that first table I bought was way too big, so I had to switch it out with a different one. And here you can see I'm trying to straighten out the top of it because it was pretty warped from the legs, so it was not flat at all. So I welded these channels on there. It helped a bit, made it a little bit flatter. Cutting these braces out because they were holding the table crooked, if that makes any sense, on top. And here I am cutting all the sides for the tables. You'll see that go on later. It was nice starting from something already built because it took some of the labor out of it anyway. This thing was pretty heavy, so I was happy to have my crane on the ceiling there. So here I'm putting all the brackets on for the casters to go onto. And here's me welding them on. A table this big, you kind of got to be able to move it around your shop or it'll be right in your way. Here's the new wheels going on. I got some nice ones from Princess Auto. It was a lot easier now. I could roll it around. So here's me filling in some holes in the table because, like I said, it was a used table. So this part was not fun whatsoever. Grinding the rust off the top. My driveway is still stained from this because it was raining that day. Here I am building some of the crossbars for the bottom to hold the legs straight because they were bowing in. There's a third one and fourth one going on. And after this, now I'm cutting the pieces of square tube for the corners so I can weld all the sides on and just to make it easier to fit up, basically. Clamp them on there, tack them up, and go to the next ones. It was a lot of work lining up the plate with the top of the table because everything's a little bit uneven. So it's a little bit labor intensive. Welding the sides on this table required a ton of welding, as you'll see right away. Ended up really coming out really nice, but there was no shortage of work, that's for sure. I ended up having to fill in these corners probably like 4 times on each corner to make them perfect 90-degree corner, if you know what I mean. Yeah, here's me filling in all the top seam there to make it perfectly flat and kind of seamless 90-degree corners all the way around on this table. Blend it all down and blend it all in basically. And here I'm building a jig to start drilling all the holes for the fixturing, because to mark them all out and drill them all one by one, for one, takes forever, and for two, it's not the most accurate method, so this seemed like the best option for me. In the end, it ended up being, by the time I got to the other side of the table, they ended up being a little bit out, which was unfortunate, but I just have to keep that in mind when I'm using it to build stuff square, that I use the good side and kind of avoid the other side. It sucks, but what are you going to do? It's still a sweet table, so I'm still happy with it. And this mag drill is a lifesaver. If you don't have one of these, definitely pick one up. I'd recommend probably getting a Vivor one or something off Amazon or Temu, because these ones are pretty expensive. These Hogans are, I think, $1,000 or so. But best tool ever, especially if you're drilling through. This was a 3/8 top on this table and 1/4-inch sides. So the 3/8 top is quite the pain to drill through with anything but this. You can plasma cut it all or torch it all, but then you got a lot of cleanup to do. This is kind of the best way, in my opinion, to make a nice perfect hole every time. And this bit I used, actually I was able to get, I can't remember the number, 200 something holes with this one bit, and then it snapped on like my third last hole. And I had another bit, but I just thought it was funny. It was a lot of cleanup from that drilling. There's a lot of metal shavings left. So here's me using the laser to line up the top rows of holes and make marks on the sides to drill the sides. Laser is another super handy tool, but you could use a flat edge too. I just like the laser better myself. So marking the centers of where all the holes are going to go, and then marking the distance from the top, center punching them all, make it nice and easy. Originally I was gonna drill these all in position like this, and I held the drill up here and I was like, yeah, that's gonna suck. So decided I was going to flip it over and drill them all like that. And I'm glad I did, because it was a lot easier. Same thing, just drilling them all out. It actually goes pretty quick. I probably got that piece there done in 20 minutes, maybe less. Overall, the drilling did not take that long. Flipping it around was kind of a sketchy pain in the ass. And then this is me chamfering it. I bought some actually carpentry bits for chamfering the hole, and they worked great on this. I was able to do all the holes with, I think, one bit. And I do all the top ones at the end, but I was just doing these because they're easy to get at this point. And all the sides are done, and just chamfer all the top ones. So now I'm starting to build the actual clamps for my fixture table. So I bought a bunch of these Bessie brand clamps from Home Depot, and I'm basically cutting off the part that I don't need there, and I'm going to weld on a 5/8 round stock to it, and a large washer on top of that. I ended up using, I think, 1.25" round stock for that top part. Started off with washers, but they were way too thin, so I like that a lot better. So basically I'm trying to make it so it, yeah, there's the washers I'm cutting there. I'm trying to make it so I can just stick them in the fixture table and clamp at any point, anywhere. So you see me there, I'm TIG welding these stainless, I think it's stainless stock I got there. And that's exactly the idea there. And that's pretty much the whole point of this table, is to be able to clamp anything anywhere, and you know, put pins in and fixture everything. So just welding these guys up. These are probably the handiest part about this whole table. And here I am cutting some wood for the bottom shelf, because you always need storage underneath there, and this wood, I had to cut it in half to get it in there. Paint it black just so it blends in a bit. Ended up working out nice. I had these old toolboxes. I figured I'd cut them up and make them fit under there. Actually worked out pretty good. They were not the right color, so I painted them black. And they're just cheap, not very high quality boxes, but they do the trick. Needed something to hold the clamps and everything else, so just made some little angle brackets to bolt them down, basically. A perfect spot for the clamps. I ended up getting some longer ones and some shorter ones. And I decided I needed a way to level this table and make it stationary, so I got this 4-inch angle, chopped it up, and got some 3/4 rod, some nuts, welded them all up to make some feet that I can adjust with an impact and just crank it down and lift the table up. They ended up being pretty helpful. I mean, I don't use them that often, but it's nice to have the option. So I just putting some sides on these angles to make them extra strong, because the table is pretty heavy, and it'll stop any kind of bending or deflection. So that mag drill just fit inside there. I'm glad they did. I had to tack all these down to drill them. I probably should have drilled them before, but in hindsight, what are you gonna do? This chop saw is super handy, by the way. It's a good investment. Welding all the nuts in there so it has something to thread onto, and tack them on the bottom, try them out, make sure they work good, and weld them up. I was thinking about putting a square plate on the bottom of these feet just to kind of give it a better surface, but the nuts are all right for now, so. Yeah, so here's the table all complete. Got some storage underneath there. Got my spinner, some fab squares, my pipe vise, and yeah, I got clamps in here, ground cable, shorter clamps, and then all the fixturing, pins, everything, right? Put a bunch of those in and make a 90-degree lineup. So Chenzi's coming to say hi. So yeah, that's it. That's the table. Took me about probably 3 weeks just doing it in the evenings and weekends. Yeah, I'd say 3 weeks probably. Turned out nice though. I use it a lot. So feel free to use my ideas if you're looking to build your own. I forgot to show you guys one cool thing that I got. So this is a pipe vise. I found it in my shed that I was demolishing. It's got to be, I don't know, 50 years old or more. It's old Reed manufacturing pipe vise. I painted it up and stuff. But yeah, it fits perfectly on the table here. It's got that little ledge, and I drilled a hole in the middle. I didn't tighten this up, it's just to show you guys, but bolt it down and I can tighten pipes in here when I'm building my handrail for my deck and stuff like that. Super handy stuff. With that like that and just crank it down. Works good. Yeah, alright, I'll catch you guys later. Alright guys, I appreciate you watching the video right till the end. Stay tuned for some more content coming soon. Catch you on the next one.